Buongiorno and welcome back to Koi Fish Johnny. In this episode we're going to be opening up those valves and allowing the water to circle and find out just whether everything has been corrected and the water isn't leaking out the back, or we've hit a disaster. Also, I find a friend in this episode, which is unreal, unbelievable. I mean, you might not like it, but I loved it. I think he needs a name. In the video I named him something else, but I'm thinking the name Bert. But if you've got a better name for my friend that I found, you drop it in those comments, all right? So first things first, I must say this is Sunday, the day after the day before. Okay, yesterday was a nightmare. Came down, opened the curtains, all the problems, which I'll show you some footage from yesterday in a minute. But also I did this. So this also happened yesterday. Check this out. That's right, I was hanging a shelf here, last screw through the wall, bang. That's right, doing DIY. Last drill, hit that water pipe, split it out. But guess what? My mate Johnny came round, absolute superstar, saved the day, put one of them things on, stopped the problem. All right, but nonetheless, the wife isn't happy. It was a nice little house feature, a nice little water fountain, internal water fountain coming out of there, but I thought, you know what, it's going to be too expensive, so I'll need to cap it. I got Super Johnny round, he came round and helped me out. John is an absolute superstar. So, on to the next thing, right. I'm going to wander around the back of the pond in a minute, and we're going to open the valves and allow the pressure of the pond to fly it through to the filters. I hope that come across right. Fly it through the pipes into the nexus, and hopefully there's going to be no water leaks. Before we go round there, and before I show you the videos of what happened yesterday and how I found the problem and things like that, I just want to say that everything that I'm doing now is literally a temporary solution until the summer, or until I can bend over. If you haven't watched the early videos, you know I've damaged my leg and I literally can't bend over, so doing any jobs around the back, it is literally temporary. I have to put a seat down or something on the floor to sit on and shuffle my way across the floor wherever I want to get. Bending over is something that you should be grateful for if you have the ability right now. Okay, so without further ado, let's clip in to what happened yesterday so you can have a laugh at what happened. Okay, so did you see it? In my last episode, we've seen it, it was leaking, and the leak is actually on the video. I don't know if you can see it because I'm still loading the video right now, but I've come round to, once the wife woke up, to do my inspections around this area, and I have found the leak, and it's quite easy to fix. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin you round, and you can have a look to see where the mistake is. Don't laugh, because it is a stupid mistake. Oh, not a mistake, it's a stupid issue. I'm talking too much. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so see if you can see where the problem is. That's just the water, the noise is just the water filling up. Okay. Quite interested to see on the last video whether you can see this. Okay, so what I did is I pulled that off and put my finger in, that's probably the best way to say it. And I felt a block and I thought, oh no, it's not that. So I thought it could be the nexus. It could be the nexus, it could be the rubber boot there. I had a quick look at the rubber boot, which we had an issue with recently, and then I turned around this way, boom, there it is. This had slid down and come undone. This was only supporting it from the side, as you can see a little dinting, so I need to get this right back underneath to support it and get that back in its boots and tighten this back up, which brings me on to this. I should have took my own advice here. I made a mistake here because remember like a couple of videos back where I had the issue with the rubber welly at the bottom, expanding, contracting, come loose. Same things happened here. My advice to anyone on pond keeping was to check your bolts. I forgot that I've got another rubber bloody welly here that's there, and now that's caused me to lose what, 50% of my pond. It's not the end of the world because the fish are still all right down there. I've just lost a load of water, and I'm hoping that I can put this together quite easily, which I should be able to, but fingers crossed. Pop that thing under. If anyone's got any other suggestions, pop that thing under, because it's quite strong, but it should just add a little bit of support. But if I can wedge it right the way under, rather than just the tip of it now, because it's always better to be all the way in, rather than just the tip. And hopefully that'll give it some compressible support that's strong enough to hold it when the Jubilee clip or whatever it is doesn't hold it. Okay, if anyone's got any ideas, or not ideas, I don't want to be spending like ages around it, especially the fact I can't bend my knee 100%, so I'm probably gonna have to sit on the wet concrete floor. Poor Johnny. Any ideas about a better way to do this? Because The one thing I'm going to do, without running too much into the future episode about expanding this garden home office, because I'm going to try and join it. I need to speak to my builder, but join it onto that wall like someone suggested, and then wrap it around there, so that, and then probably put the filter house inside the office, but not inside the office, have a separation section. And obviously with this rubber welly coming on, I wouldn't want that in my office either, so I have to think about another way to prevent the water if there's an issue with the Nexus or my filtration system that goes out of the office and not into the office. Just another little nugget that's popped up into my head. But anyway, what do you think of the work? Hey? What should we call you? I have no idea. Maybe you guys can help me out. What should I call this little Robin Redbreast? He's always knocking around the garden, look. That's me, there's my Crocs. There's my mate, Robin. Maybe he's called Robin. That's a bit... Is that a massive worm? Has he just got off with the biggest worm ever? Hi guys, and welcome back. I hope I managed to clip that in, that recording of the Robin Redbreast, which is just over there now. There you go, or wherever he is. He's making noises. How cool was that? I mean, that is amazing. If you've got some names for the Robin Redbreast, I'm just going to call him Robin actually. If anyone's got a better name for Robin Redbreast than Robin, please drop it in the comments. But that was amazing. I've seen that little bird hanging around the garden all the time, little Robin Redbreast. I'm going to say it again. If I say Robin Redbreast again, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll do something stupid. But no, I won't say it again. But that little bird made my day. He came down, my little mate, had a look at it, inspected the work, said, you know what, that's not good enough. Change it to this. Wrap this piece of wood in bubble wrap, that'll support it better. So that's what I did. Let's have a look, guys, at what I've done. So under there, 2 bricks, foam. Tighten that right up. Okay, that was holding it on its own, to be honest. Then across here, what I've just done is, on the Robin Redbreast video, you'll see a bit of a concrete slab. I took that out because it's too rigid. And I just wrapped this piece of wood, or shall I say cladding, that I've got from the house, and then wrapped it in bubble wrap just to offer additional support and hopefully stop it completely capitulating. I've decided I'm going to wait until the pond is completely full before opening any of the valves, and then I can open them, be here immediately if there are any issues with any of the 4-inch valve connection welly boot thing to the bottom of the Nexus, and then we can have a look as the Nexus fills up. But as you know, when you're filling up slowly like this, it takes hours and hours. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that little footage there. As you can see, it was a relatively easy problem to solve, which thank God it was, because at one point I thought it was going to be the Nexus. Once I put my fingers into the pipe and found that the ball valve was rotating, I literally panicked. But when I noticed it was just a rubber welly that slid off, I just thought, thank God for that when I noticed it. But it was like just a little gap. Anyway, let's get back to it. So everything's set up. I've got to say that round here, I'm sorry, but this is all temporary. All right, I just can't clean it up. It is like Death Trap Valley, so I know that there's a lot wrong with this area, but there's a lot that will improve come the summer or come my bending ability. So we're going to open these valves and we're going to pray that that stays on. The reason why I've supported this, in fact, you guys might know, is the Jubilee clip, when it's fully tightened, strong enough to hold that 4-inch pipe coming all the way around. The reason why I've got this here is just to offer additional support to that, and a compressible top to give it a bit of flexibility just in case. It isn't to hold it forever. Like I say, this isn't going to stay like this forever. And this, again, this is just in here. The reason why the bubble wrap is on isn't to support it, but if there is any movement in that, this will compress down only to a certain level because it's got some composite inside. So without further ado, let's get cracking. To be honest, I'm quite nervous now. Here we go. In she comes, pouring in. There she is, little stallion. Look at that. Oh yes, that's what we want to see. Right, so that's obviously really good news so far, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap off now, because obviously we've just been able to see that the fact it isn't leaking, but I just want to put the camera down and twiddle, twaddle, swaddle, move around the Nexus and look around it as much as I can to make sure everything's going right without thinking about whether I can hold this camera in position. Okay, so wish me luck, I'll snap back in a minute. Okay guys, so I've had a little gander, I've had a little Pikachu around, and I have found out that everything is fine. So I'm buzzing about that, literally buzzing. it's only a little problem that's happened. Little tiny drama, not the biggest one in the world. Basically, moral of the story will be tighten your bolts. Like I said in my last one, should have tightened this welly, didn't, and now I'm paying the consequence. Okay guys, so that's it. The pond's up and running, the filter's pumping, and we are rocking and rolling. The next episode, I'm talking to Beza in the comments about the filtration, the 3-stage dechlorinator and the Big Blue. I'm thinking about converting over. I'm going to be having a little chat with someone soon, but if you could drop a comment, I love the comments because it helps me grow my knowledge. If you've got a Big Blue, comment Big Blue and then give it a rating out of 10 in the comments if you can, because I am seriously considering getting one, because I've heard good stuff. I've seen a lot of people that I respect with the Big Blues. And do you think the Big Blue is good or bad? Because I may be converting over very, very soon, depending on the test results. So this has been Koi Fish Johnny, friendly, fishy, fun. Problem resolved. Also, I'd like to say just before I go that someone once described to me as an expert. An expert is basically somebody who's made more mistakes in a particular field than anyone else. Okay, so I found that quite interesting because I'm making tons of mistakes in this koi fish keeping. So I should be an expert by what? Spring?